The galaxy's social networks had a strange obsession with perfection. Perfect heights, perfect builds, perfect scales, and perfect tails. That was what most alien brokers insisted upon when pairing dragon women with potential husbands. Kayara had seen it all before. She was not like the other dragon women who dominated the galaxy's beauty charts. She was tall, her scales shimmered a rich copper tone, and her curves were Janasa's body that commanded attention. Though not the acceptable attention the interstellar matchmaking agencies demanded. In their eyes, she was too curvy, too bold, too herself. When Kayara first signed up for the Starbond Bride exchange, she had hoped for an honest match. Someone who would look past the superficial metrics and see her for what she truly was: fierce, intelligent, loyal, and inescapable of love that could shake stars. But the responses were brutal. Every message she received ended with the same polite rejection. Your profile has been reviewed. Unfortunately, your proportions do not meet our client's specifications. Thank you for your interest. She closed the holoscreen for the 10th time that day, her tail curling in frustration. I'm not going to sit in this waiting room of rejection forever, she muttered to herself. Maybe humans are different. Somewhere across the galaxy, Lieutenant Commander Elias Thorne, a human veteran of the Androsian Wars, was nursing his own wounds. The battles had ended years ago, but the cost lingered. He had been offered a chance to start fresh, away from the politics, the noise, and the ever-watchful eyes of his superiors. A small, quiet world on the edge of colonized space, he thought, would do. But the galaxy had a way of bringing the unexpected. Elias had never believed in these matchmaking systems. He considered them quaint relics of a time when humans and aliens clung desperately to labels and aesthetics. Yet curiosity and perhaps loneliness nudged him to browse the Starbond profiles one evening. That's when he saw Kiara. Her picture popped up, striking figure draped in iridescent scales, eyes glowing like molten gold. Her posture exuded strength, but her smile held a softness that even his battle-hardened heart couldn't ignore. A brief scan of her stats revealed exactly what the agencies had used against her. Her proportions. A soft laugh escaped Elias. Too curvy, he muttered. The universe really has a sense of humor. He clicked on her profile, and as he read her biography, something unusual stirred inside him. Admiration, respect, curiosity. She had survived the scrutiny of countless alien elites. Yet she hadn't allowed it to harden her spirit. Every sentence radiated confidence, compassion, and a sharp intellect that far surpassed the shallow tests of beauty imposed by the agencies without hesitation. Elias sent her a message. Your profile intrigues me. Would you like to meet not as a client, not as a transaction, but as two beings, seeing if there's a spark beyond the screens? Kayara blinked at the message, half expecting it to be a scam or some agency trick. But the sincerity in his words resonated with her. Finally, someone wasn't judging her by arbitrary standards. Yes, she typed back, her heart daring to hope. The meeting point was a neutral station orbiting a minor star, place with neither grandeur nor pretense. When Kayara arrived, she felt the familiar knot of anxiety, a leftover from years of rejection. She had been rejected for her body, mocked for her confidence, and overlooked for her brilliance. Could this human be different? Elias was waiting in the docking bay, casual in his approach, yet commanding in presence. His uniform was simple, but there was a quiet strength in the way he carried himself. the kind that had survived battles most could not even imagine, when their eyes met. Kayara felt something she hadn't in years: acceptance. Lieutenant Commander Thorne. She asked, her voice steady despite the flurry of nerves inside. Yes, and you must be Kyara, he replied, his tone gentle. It's good to finally meet you. The conversation started cautiously small talk about the station, about their worlds, about favorite foods and overlooked planets. But soon barriers fell. Kayara's laughter filled the room, a sound both musical and powerful. Elias shared stories of his campaigns, of comrades lost and battles fought, but not in a way that glorified war. He shared the lessons, the regrets, and the faintest hopes that remained despite everything. Kayara found herself leaning in, drawn not only to his words, but to the honesty behind them. Here was a human who didn't care about her curves, her scales, or the agency's rules. Here was a man who recognized worth not in numbers or appearances, but in character, resilience, and heart. Hours passed like minutes. When the station lights dimmed for the night cycle, Elias turned to her. "I have to admit something," he said. "I wasn't looking for a dragon woman bride when I logged into this system. But meeting you, I realize now that I've been looking for someone like you my entire life." Kayara's chest tightened. This was more than admiration, it was recognition. He saw her, truly. "I've been rejected my whole life for who I am," she admitted quietly. "For being too curvy, too ambitious, too live. I'm not sure I'm used to being seen, really seen." Elias stepped closer, his gaze unwavering. "Then let me see you, all of you, and know that what the rest of the galaxy rejects, I treasure." The warmth in his words melted years of Kayara realized she had been waiting for this, not for approval, not for validation, but for someone to meet her as an equal, to recognize her strength as her beauty. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Kayara and Elias became inseparable. Together they traveled between systems, visiting battlefields, museums, and quiet planets where no one knew them. The galaxy still judged, still whispered, still rejected those who didn't fit the ideal mold. But for Kayara and Elias, those judgments were irrelevant. One evening, as twin suns set over the ocean-like plains of Vexera 3, Elias took Kyara's hand. The air shimmered with the warm hues of the setting suns, and the gentle breeze rustled her copper scales. "Kayara," he said, his voice soft yet resolute, "I don't care what the agencies or the galaxy think. I don't care about what's considered too curvy, too thin, too alien, or too human. I see you, your courage, your heart, your brilliance, and I want you beside me, not because of any system, not because of appearances, but because you are extraordinary." Tears pricked Kayara's eyes. She had heard rejection her entire life, but this was affirmation, validation, and love wrapped into one. "I never thought someone could see me this way," she whispered. "I've spent so long hiding parts of myself, trying to fit molds I never belonged in. But you see me, Elias, you see me." He smiled, brushing a hand over her cheek. "Then let's never hide again." Years passed, and their bond only strengthened. Kayara's confidence, once bruised by societal rejection, became legendary across human and alien networks alike. Stories spread of the dragon woman with curves too bold for the galaxy's outdated standards, who became the wife of a human war hero. A woman whose worth wasn't measured in metrics, but in courage, intelligence, and heart. Their story became more than a personal triumph. It became a message. Across star systems, young dragon women did. All beings who had been rejected for being too different, too strong, or too themselves found hope. They saw that there were humans, and perhaps others, who could see beyond the shallow confines of perfection. There were those who could see worth. Kayara never forgot the sting of rejection, but she no longer feared it. She had been deemed too curvy, too unusual, too much. Yet she had found someone who cherished her fully. A human veteran who understood that value was never skin-deep. And in that truth, she thrived on the day of their wedding. Aboard a quiet orbital station, bathed in the light of a distant blue star, Elias whispered as he held her close, "I saw your worth the moment I read your profile. And every day since, you've proven it 1,000 times over." Kayara smiled, her heart full, scales shimmering brighter than ever. "And I never doubted that I was meant to be seen. I just needed someone who could see me rightly." The galaxy watched, some in awe, some in disbelief. But Kayara and Elias didn't care. They were beyond judgment, beyond metrics, beyond the petty rejections of a superficial society. They had each other, and that was all that mattered. In a universe obsessed with appearances, they proved that true worth was not measured by curves, scales, or statistics, but by courage, heart, and the unwavering ability to see and honor another soul. And so, the dragon woman, once rejected as too curvy, became a legend not for conforming, but for rising above, for finding the human veteran who saw her worth, and for showing the galaxy what true value really meant. Asterisk.